know, my name is Amber Harrison. I am the DarkSky Places Program Manager with DarkSky International. I've been with the organization right at about 4 years. I started my DarkSky journey as a park ranger at Big Bend Ranch State Park. I'm actually an archaeologist by training, but when I was a park ranger at Big Bend Ranch, I got into dark skies. I got that park certified as an international dark sky park. I went on to get Black Gap Wildlife Management Area certified as an international dark sky sanctuary. And then I went on and worked on the Greater Big Bend International Dark Sky Reserve. And then I thought, I should probably just go work for dark sky because, and so anyhow, here I am. And I am going to talk about the International Dark Sky Places program. As many of you know, we have been talking about doing a program update for many years, since 2016 when I started as a park ranger and working on the Big Bend Ranch application. There were discussions about updating the program and updating the guidelines, and here we are, 2026, and we're finally to a point where we're making these changes. This is happening. It has been an incredibly daunting and fun and challenging project. So that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to just giving you guys a very high-level overview of what's to come. While it's been like 100 years since we've been doing this, we're still not to the point where everything's been approved and rubber stamped and ready to go. So there are some elements about this that are still under development, and I'm going to leave out some of those big details. I'm not going to get into the details about a lot of the changes. I just want you guys to get a glimpse of what's to come. I'm going to give you a little bit of what I think is really important is the context of this new direction for the program. Cindy, everybody else has already set me up for a wonderful they've just given me a good setup for all of this and giving this context, because this is all, as everybody has talked about, based in the 5 principles of responsible outdoor lighting. So I'm going to bring that full circle so you guys can all kind of see where that fits and what's happening with dark sky. I'm going to talk a little bit about where the International Dark Sky Places program is going to fall under sort of where Dark Sky International as a whole. I'm going to talk, like I said, really high level about an explanation of some of the changes, and then a little bit of advice for you guys to keep moving forward. We've been talking about these changes for a long time. People are, worried what's going to change. Is it going to be big? Is it going to impact all of the years of work that we've been doing? And the short answer is absolutely not. So I'm going to give you some advice on what to do now, how to keep going, and to keep the momentum. Then we're going to have a quick Q&A session. This presentation will be given to you with the QR code and all of that. Everything underlined in here will be linked to resources so that you guys can do your own exploration when you have your own time. So does anybody need an explanation about what the International Dark Sky Places program is? Sweet, that's the perfect answer. So you guys know.
I saw a couple of hands.
Oh, I didn't see any hands. Oh, yes, please.
They didn't get too high, but it wouldn't hurt to do a real high level. Not too deep.
Absolutely. Well, see, this is why I have to ask, because I will go. And so keep me on track. So the International Dark Sky Places program, the first place was certified in 2001. Actually, the Flagstaff, which is a great tie-in. So thank you, Christian, for that. There was a lot in his presentation that actually ties into this really well as well. So excellent setups. But we are the program that certifies communities, parks, and protected areas around the world to preserve and protect dark skies through responsible lighting policies and public education. So that's the current definition of the program. That definition is not really going to change. We have 5 certification categories. We have parks, communities, sanctuaries, reserves, and urban night sky places. The urban night sky place category is the most recent and has the fewest. But so those are the categories now. They all focus on different characteristics and different qualities and different actions around the kind of place that they are. I will say real quick, actually, what's also relevant about them is that they are mostly centered around sky quality, with the exception of communities. So communities right now are really focused on the action of dark sky friendly actions. They don't necessarily have to have a night sky quality or darkness component to them, like parks, reserves, and sanctuaries. That'll be important here in a second. Have you guys ever heard of the... so I don't think I'm going to go into this anymore. Everybody here knows what this is. Last call for any questions on responsible lighting practices. Cindy mentioned in her most recent presentation, or somebody did, or I guess Brad did, that the thing that I was going to talk about was the order, and that there's an order of operations here that's really important to know. That's something I think has taken a while for people to understand. The other thing that I will mention about this is that this rolled out, I believe, in 2020. And part of what I'm talking about today and the changes with the organization and changes with the Places program centers around this. Now, it's taken us all of this time over these recent years to bring this into the scope of the organization, the scope of our programs. So that's really relevant because it just shows you how long these things can take to sort of infiltrate, to teach people about, to learn, to figure out, and find our footing about how to communicate about this. And so it has been a little while since we've rolled out with this. So I just wanted to point that out, that this isn't necessarily a new thing. It's been around for a little bit now, but it's taken a little while to get our bearings and to figure out how to integrate this thing into our worlds. Yeah?
Just going back to the order and stuff, for the color temperature being the last...
No, I don't know what I just did.
Behind...
Hold on.
like controlling the light, is that also accurate for like sanctuaries and places that have a lot of environmental like insects and things that might go to the bluer lights compared to,
In general, short answer, yes. Short answer, yes. And we can come back to some of the more technical types of questions about how to apply it when through the Q&A section. I think that'll be an easier place to answer that kind of question. But short answer is, yeah, that still applies. Now I got to figure out, I hit something and I figured. So one of, like I said, DarkSky International is kind of bringing these 5 principles into our work and into our process. Our programs are coming together and they're really unified through the 5 principles. So that's the common thread, that's the through line for all of our programs and sort of our identity now. We've also undergone a brand change over recent years, and so this is us bringing all of these elements and all of these components together. International DarkSky Places will fall under the DarkSky approved category, not category, but DarkSky approved program. So what we're doing is we're splitting out to have a DarkSky approved component, which are places, experience, products, and facilities that meet lighting standards and conservation criteria. And then we have the DarkSky recognized part. Those are going to be people, services, governing documents like ordinances and training programs. So we've got the roll-in program, responsible outdoor light at night, education program. But instead of International DarkSky Places just being this sole program in its own orbit, we're bringing it into the company of these other programs. So we talked about the DarkSky approved Luminaires program. That is already launched. We have lodges and resorts, which are similar to DarkSky Places, where they have responsible outdoor lighting practices and they're approved as single entities. So we have lodging right now has launched. Resorts is under construction, so I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Sports lighting that Brad just spoke about. Marine ports is launched. Industrial facilities, so we're working with oil and gas now. That's a brand new program that's sort of under development. And then we have communities cities, urban areas, and planned developments. So one of the big changes with this program is that we're going to have communities still in the International Dark Sky Places program, so dark communities. This will be a new thing. Talk about in the next slide. And then we're going to have night communities or dark sky friendly communities that will be able to get recognition for their dark sky friendly efforts that aren't necessarily dark in terms of sky quality or anything like that. So that's a brand new change. I think one of the goals with that is we want to get a bigger tent. Brad kind of alluded to this, but we want to bring more people in. We want to make this more accessible, and we want to cover more ground. Cities and urban areas are definitely a place where we need to focus our energy. So the International Dark Sky Places updates, like I said, we've been talking about this for a really long time. It's been an extremely challenging project. As you can imagine, having a global program where there are communities and cultures and lighting technologies and ordinances and municipalities and people that do all of the things differently, different languages, different everything. So it makes it very hard. We have to consider all the different angles, all the impacts that we're going to have, and more importantly, how are we going to do this so it's impactful for all of these places? So it's been very challenging. It's been very rewarding, but we need to do it because we are currently working under 15-plus-year-old guidelines. We know through certifying 273 places, I believe is where we're at as of today. We've learned a lot of lessons. We've gotten a lot of feedback from advocates over the years. Obviously, we have new lighting approaches, new advances, new knowledge. You've got to keep up with the times. And we're finally there where we can start integrating a lot of our new knowledge, a lot of our new science into this program. We have growing global interest, variability, like I said, communities, parks, nature areas, preserves, landscapes, all of those things are variable across the planet. And how they're organized, how they're structured, and how they're managed is variable. There's a lot of variability in that, and we have to make this program complementary and able to fit and be flexible for all of this wide array of places. We need to balance our organizational growth with our program needs and unify our dark sky programs and incorporate our dark sky brand. So those programs that I mentioned earlier, we're bringing them all together under those two sort of broad umbrellas, and so that we are able to work together and complement one another. So that an international dark sky place can use the Luminaires program. So somebody getting certified as International Dark Sky Place can say, well, where do I get my lighting? What do I do? You go to our Luminaires program and we can help you find that lighting. Easy, done, and we have the resources for you. So we're really trying to get all of that into one pot. How are we going to do this? We're integrating the 5 principles for a consistent direction. So not just for Places program, but across the entire organization, as you guys have heard. Establish measurable and experiential benchmarks. So Brad was talking about experience with lighting. This is experience with dark sky places and communities. So we are setting that expectation. So we want to make this about the experience, and we want to make the experience, we want to set the expectation so you go to a dark sky place and you have a dark sky experience. We are aligning with the International Union for the Conservation of Nature categories for protection. We've always done that. We're just doing it in a clearer, more well-defined way. We're focusing on dark sky friendly actions in developed areas. So breaking out, not breaking out is probably not the right way to put it, but bringing communities onto the side, urban areas, and focusing on ordinance development and policy development in developed areas, and making that a big focal piece of the program is going to really make an impact where we need to make the impact in developed areas. So we're going to focus on that. We have new and improved application kits. We've got a new look in our guidelines, and we have enhanced tools and applicant guidance that we're going to give. So when you apply to become an International Dark Sky Place, not only do you get the one-on-one guidance that you've always had, we're going to have a whole toolkit for you guys to use that gives you all the guidance, all those questions that you guys always have to send me emails about and wait for me to answer, that's all going to be available for you. So you can go and do it yourself. You're going to have tools, you're going to have all of the resources there, so you don't have to wait on just a few staff members to come and answer your questions. So we'll have a full organization-wide glossary. I think we're going to start with DarkSky Places program and then build that out. So if you ask somebody in our organization, what is light pollution? What's the definition of a lumen? You're going to go to that place and you're going to get the exact same answer, and you're going to get resources to help find those answers. Okay, so that's smaller than I thought. I know, I'm sorry. So this is just a brief breakdown of the major changes that are gonna come. And so I'm just gonna start at the top left. The IDSP, so DarkSky Places and larger community areas and urban categories will be situated under that DarkSky approved umbrella. That's not really a huge change. You really won't feel that change, but you'll see it in the way that we talk about the program and where it fits in the rubric of everything that the organization is doing. We're breaking out dark just for the sake of this conversation. This goes a lot deeper, but for the sake of this conversation, we're just going to talk about sky brightness being the benchmark for what we're breaking out as dark. And that's the big, one of the big changes for the categories and sort of broadening the field. So we're going to separate the dark, quote unquote. I'm going to say too that the naming of this isn't hashed out. So if I flip flap and just call it dark or night, that's not what we're going to call it, but that's still under discussion. So I don't really have words for it right now, so I apologize. So that's going to be 20.5 magnitudes per square arc second, and night places or brighter places will be anything under that. That's going to be the baseline for the DarkSky Places program. So that's going to be the threshold, except with the exception of parks, that 20.5 will be the threshold for that. We are going to have, like I said, we're going to have categories for larger communities and urban areas. The naming of those are TBD still, but those are really going to focus on policy, lighting, outreach, education, dark sky friendly actions. It's going to have a different strategy to it where it doesn't go through a committee review like International Dark Sky Places does right now. It'll be a staff review, and there's not going to be a sky quality requirement for the night communities. The Dark Sky Places will align with the IUCN, where the new the categories will be dark sky parks, dark sky reserves, conservation areas, and communities. So really the only change is that there's a new category called conservation area. And that one is going to be much like a park, but it's going to have a reduction in requirement for public access and outreach requirements. So a lot like a sanctuary is now, where because of their remoteness or their lack of resources, they don't have that heavy requirement on public outreach and education. A conservation area will be similar to that. So the idea there is that these are for sites that don't have a big, they don't have the resources necessarily to do heavy outreach, heavy lift like parks do in terms of outreach and education. Parks, reserves, and communities. Sorry. See, I shortened it, Cindy. I took out more words. Cindy's requested, now I'm confusing myself. Those other categories have conservation outcomes at lower thresholds of night sky quality, and they broaden engagement, and we're doing that to set the expectation so that if you come to the International Dark Sky Places program, you expect these to be dark sky places. And so that's kind of the impetus behind breaking the darker places out, even though the threshold is lower. The threshold is lower to bring more people under that tent, but also to set that expectation under the idea that even at a lower threshold, say 18.5, which is where will be the lower threshold for parks, you can still have a quality nighttime experience. So for parks, you can meet that lower threshold, and on top of that, you're doing the robust outreach and education. So you're getting a nighttime experience, plus which meets your expectation, plus they have the requirement to do all of that heavy outreach and education. So that is why parks can come down to the lower threshold, and reserves and conservation areas and dark sky communities are going to stay in that 20.5 and above. With regard to the sky quality, we have a whole chart table of all of the different other elements of night sky quality that we're going to consider. It is not, I just want to be crystal clear, it is not just about sky brightness and SQM readings. It's about what can you see on the horizon, what is the feeling and experience that you're having on the ground, what kind of light domes do you see, what kind of localized glare is there. So there's a whole rubric of sky quality elements that we're going to bring into the application. So it's much more than just that threshold. That threshold is just the way that we can control the levels, and that's just kind of one of the, I know that a lot of people have feelings about that, but that is what we landed on, and I think broadly it is a good way to be able to scale that expectation. So just to break down like the core changes I think that's 11 points or something, is one, we're going to separate that night and dark threshold. We're going to bring in that new conservation area category. That more or less will absorb the sanctuary as we know it now. We have the new sky quality thresholds and size requirements. So we will have a minimum size requirement. I believe it's 5 square kilometers. If there is a site that is smaller but has all of the characteristics, we can absolutely be flexible. But we do have now a size requirement. I believe it's 5, and it might be 10 for parks, but I don't remember off the top of my head. The lighting management plan aligns with our dark sky approved ordinances. So many of you have probably already seen the codes and templates that we have online. Those have been brought up to date with our current knowledge and all the things that Brad has mentioned. So our new lighting management plan and the technical lighting aspects of the new categories fall in line with all of that. So you can expect all of those things to be able to more or less work together. For dark sky community certification, there's going to be a little bit of a difference. It's got a bit of a higher standard than the dark sky recognized ordinances. That's by design, so that we can know that the program has a higher status or standard. But more or less all of those things now are going to be complementary to one another, and nothing's should contradict each other. So the lighting management plan provisions follow the 5 principles. We have new inventory templates that applicants can use that connect with the 5 principles, but also give you guidance on how to apply the 5 principles. So that's what's been missing, is like, we've got the 5 principles, well, how? And so what we're going to give you guys is the how in those documents. So we'll have inventory templates, new sky quality. There will be a new sky quality assessment for dark sky communities. So dark sky communities is going to be a new element to this program. We have dark sky communities now, but they don't have a dark sky threshold. Excuse me. So we will give you the survey guidelines. We have surveys designed, guidelines for you to develop a night sky quality documentation survey for a community to demonstrate that it falls under the dark category. So that'll be new in our guidance. Guidance in our technical lighting aspects that give guidance for basic compliance, so like the do-it-yourself compliance, or what to do if you have to follow a standard. That's going to be new as well. We have flexibility in the guidelines for innovative design. So if somebody says, we have this innovative dimming system or whatever, and we really want to use this, science shows that this is a good protocol, then we will be able to look at that and say, this meets all of the criteria, it's something new, so that we can build in flexibility into our program, but also build in innovation. Because you'd be surprised how many people come to us with these ideas and things that they want to do, especially in other countries, and we don't really have a mechanism to evaluate that, and so we're going to bring in that ability. Like I said, improved how-to guides, glossaries, and checklists, and the fee structure. So we are introducing a fee structure into the rollout of the new program. It will have World Bank equity pricing and waivers. I don't know where we are with that. A lot of the fee structure is still under construction, and it has not been approved formally, so I'm definitely not going to get into that too much. But just know that it's coming. We don't expect it to be not unlike the fee amounts that we have now. So I wouldn't get too worried about that. But do think about that. I'll talk about that here in a second. So moving forward, what does this mean? We've got, I haven't counted lately, well over 200 applicants in the pipeline, 273, maybe slightly more certified places, and I'd say I probably got 40 ready to start, or at least engaging. So what does that mean for everybody who's been putting in this time, putting in this effort? Not really all that much. So prospective people ready to begin, I would say initiate your projects under the current guidelines. So we're still taking new applicants. We never stopped taking new applicants under what we're calling the 2018/2023 guidelines, so the guidelines that are out there right now. If you want to start tomorrow on one of those, you will follow those guidelines into the future. We're not going to make you change midway. I don't know exactly when this will roll out, but I would say if you're ready to start. Send me your pre-application inquiry. We'll get you in the pipeline under the current guidelines. If you want to wait, then by all means, we can do that. If you're in progress, there should be no changes for pipeline projects. There will be some renewal fees. I don't know the timelines for those or the amounts. Prospective applicants who are in the early phases of exploring, you think you want to do this, but you're not ready yet, these updates will launch later this year. If you're not sure, then I would go ahead and just wait for the launch so that you can start fresh under the new guidelines and just go on from there, and nothing should change. Existing places will remain under their applicable guidelines. There will be annual fees for the annual review support. I don't know the details on that. So what do you guys do now? Keep doing what you're doing. You guys are doing fantastic work. The through line hasn't changed, which is the 5 principles. Beat that horse. So keep doing that. Continue your actions. Do your education. Do your outreach. Do your engagement. Like we talked about earlier, doing the policy work is a heavy, heavy lift. Keep at it. Check in with DarkSky if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you're up against a challenge and you don't know what to do, we can provide help. We do have the ordinance support that's available now. So if you want help developing an ordinance, we do have people that are are helping with that through the DarkSky ordinance, the recognized ordinance program. So that's up and going. Keep doing your networking like we were doing this whole weekend. Get your support letters, get your support from your community members. Develop your scope of works, inventories, your plans for your retrofits. Keep all of that. Nothing's really going to change other than a few, specifics on some lighting thresholds and things like that, but it really shouldn't be too much. Continue getting your DarkSky data. It can't hurt. Keep entering in a globe at night. Share it with your Texas group. Do your research. Continue your mapping, fundraising, policy development. Like I said, you can get going on that and get involved. Use your skills and your talents, and form your teams and keep doing what you're doing. You guys do outstanding work. So the changes with the program, I really hope will broaden the program. Change is hard. I hate it when people say that. But I feel like the longer that I'm at it and the longer that we look at this from all the different angles, I feel like we're really bringing a lot of important components together. And so it's just going to be a little bit of trial and error in the beginning as well. So, we'll need your input and we'll need your support as we roll this out, and we'll help each other. So that's really all I can say about that. So real quick question. I don't know if I babbled on too long, but yeah.
On your second or third slide, you had a category called project development or plan development. Keep going.
Oh.
Go back one.
Yep. I know what you're talking about. Planned development.
Plan development. On the road out to my dark site, I see a development going in. They raised the ground level about 3 feet off the roadside. And I know it's the power company that's going to be putting in the lights. I haven't talked to them yet.
Okay.
I know the home builder who's going to build the homes. Where do I go from here?
That's a great question. We are starting to develop a planned development program. It's not there yet. It's obviously not active. So I think right now, if you can reach out, if you can find the developer, if you can find who to talk to, who's putting it in, who's supporting the project, and just do like you would do anybody else and educate them and try to talk to them about, the issues. Try to go to them with some solutions. But right now, since we don't have the program, I don't really have a good protocol for you to follow. But do it like you would do any other project, the gas station project. You just got to knock on the doors and, give them the information, educate them, and most importantly, go with some solution in hand if you can.
The project, the plan development that was going in across the street from us, contacted the developer, and he's very appreciative and put the night sky lighting requirements in his restrictions.
Oh, fantastic. Connect them.
The project developer is to go to your county offices. They're bound to have somebody that accepts those plans. Are you in Gillespie County?
No.
Okay.
It was in Fort Bend outside of Houston.
Yes, I know that.
But you can still talk, and maybe the info that you have, you can share with him, and then he can take it to them. So yeah, don't reinvent the wheel. If you guys can connect, get that information, then you're done. Thank you both. Yeah. Sorry, I got so sorry.
I didn't hear this very well. Or IUCN? What does that stand
It's the International Union for the Conservation of Nature.
Nature.
On your chart, you used a couple of words. Go a couple charts.
Okay.
Your big,
Yeah. That.
there. Down at the bottom, PRC and OCN.
So,
Just put a little key down at the bottom.
yeah. I was trying to go for less words. Cindy and I had a phone call before, and she's like, try to use less words. And so I did. And so now Now here we are.
What is
So
LMPD?
Okay, let me start with the first one. So parks, reserves, conservation area, and community. Those are the categories that we have. Those are going to be the new categories for certification. Parks, reserves, conservation. And this, you guys are going to get this. Yeah.
But there's no key there on the definitions.
What is LMPD?
I will edit this.
Lighting management.
I will edit this before I give it to Cindy again.
Yeah, exactly.
Or an IUCN.
Yeah, and the IUCN in the previous slide is underlined, and where there's an underline, there's a link. So you can click on the IUCN, and it'll take you, the link, and it'll take you to the IUCN website so you can learn all about what that means. But in short, what you need to know about it for the purpose of this is that it is a International Union for the Conservation of Nature has categories of protections. And parks, reserves, and conservation areas have to have some level of legal protection. And the International Union for the Conservation of Nature gives good definitions and categories for different types of properties. And so if you click on that link, you'll be able to read all about that. Yeah.
And SQ,
Sky quality.
sorry,
Sky quality.
sky quality, okay. And then I had a couple of questions. If I understand it right, conservation area is
Yeah.
a new category
You're correct.
of a dark sky place.
That is correct.
And it hasn't been named yet exactly what you're gonna call it? Or-
We have landed on conservation area. It's the communities, the night sky communities. So the communities that fall under that 20.5 threshold, that's what we haven't quite named. Like, what are we going to call those?
Is that like either 5 or 10 square miles smaller? Is that the one you were talking about?
No, parks and conservation areas have the size limits. Yeah.
I think if you, and Amber can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've seen, it's that I wouldn't take too detailed of notes on that. This is to give you a high level view of where it's going.
Yeah.
Right.
And some of the details may change, so.
Yes. Thank you, Cindy.
So taking specific notes would not be recommended.
And the chances of some of this changing are very
Are
strong.
very high.
No, I think in concept this is pretty good.
Concept sheets, yeah, it's absolutely there, but there's some.
There's a lot. This is a hard. I gotta admit, this is kind of hard to give without all of the details.
Yeah.
So it's a little challenging.
Well, the reason I ask is I have somebody that I'm working with, they're actually a trailer park,
Okay.
but they're trying very hard to have dark sky capability and get recognized so that they can have star parties there.
Mm-hmm.
And all I've been able to tell them is go on your website
Mhm.
and look at the criteria. But, you know, it's a small thing, but they are very close to Dripping Springs.
Right.
So they want to be part of that community. And I'm trying to figure out how to help them get into your website and understand it.
Yeah,
Because I don't.
Which
Oh,
one? Yeah.
What about to be a star award for a trailer? I mean, it's a trailer park. It's a small
Yeah.
place. It probably doesn't.
It would probably be a great starting point. So what could be is, so we currently have the urban night sky place category. That's going to fall under the communities aspect of it. So right now an urban night sky place, exactly as it sounds, it doesn't have that sky quality. There's some level of brightness, some level of light pollution there, but the whole point is that they're working on improving that condition. So if the urban night sky place stays as it is, I'm not actually expecting much of a change for the urban night sky place. Sorry, I totally left that out. Something like that could possibly fit there, because what we're trying to do is find a place for those types of entities in our programs, whether it be the Dark Sky Places program, the Communities program, or one of the other programs. Lodging right now wouldn't quite fit for that, but perhaps in the future, but that's exactly what we're trying to do, is build the tent so that all of those types of places, because we don't want to disparage them. We want to encourage them to do the right thing. So starting with a program like with what the Be a Star program gets their first step. They get a taste of it. It gets some recognition, and then they can build from that.
Yeah, because the Be a Star program, goes step by step through the 5 principles. You follow the 5 principles, you can get that.
Yeah.
And that positions you for something that would be coming down the road from DarkSky International.
Right, exactly. And so like with something like that, and like our current program now, and the way the program's been throughout its history, is that it's not one and done. You can continue to grow. We want to keep you doing the work and keep you growing and building on your efforts. So, if you start with the Be a Star for the trailer park, well, then maybe the community's next, or maybe, there's a municipal park that could be in the Urban Night Sky Play. So you kind of build on that, and it takes a while. And it can take quite a while to build. That's how the Greater Big Bend International Dark Sky Reserve started. One park, then another park, and then a sanctuary, and then the whole thing. And so that's how most reserves, actually that's the reserve model. So, yeah.
The new SQ dash assessment for dark communities with guidance, is that a minimum threshold that communities are going to have to meet in the future?
Yeah, so for the Dark Sky Places program to be a community under the Dark Sky Places program, they'll meet a threshold, the sky quality threshold, through doing a survey. Communities now have to do a sky quality survey, but they don't. It's not a systematic survey, really. It's just more of a baseline, so that they have something to measure change against into the future. Where in this case, what we'll do is we'll have a set portion, a percentage of the area of the community has to meet the night sky quality threshold. So I think it's going to be something like 75%. So you'll do a sky quality survey that demonstrates that 75% of your community meets that threshold. That allows for some areas of development, because we know if a community is a community, it's going to have brighter areas. So you'll do basically a study area, and that's where you have to show your brightness levels. Of course, you'll take data from all around, from the full community. And then if you can show that the 75% meets that threshold, do all of the other things, then that's the new sky quality assessment for dark communities. And we provide you the guidance and the tools on how to do that.
So if a community can't meet that standard, what happens?
It can become a night sky, to be named. Night sky friendly community, exactly. So you don't meet the threshold, but you're doing all of the things. You're doing all your retrofits, you're passing a policy, you're doing all of those things. We don't want to discourage that, so we're making a place for those communities. So that also allows us to have much bigger communities. So in the program right now, Flagstaff, I think, is our largest community. Does anybody know the population of Flagstaff?
He said it.
It's 100, what's it? 70,000, 100,000, we'll call it 100. Yeah, so that currently is the largest community certified in our International Dark Sky Places program, followed by, I think, Groveland, Florida, which is something like maybe 21 or 25,000 people. And everything else is substantially smaller. The thing is that we get all of these big developed, like, massive communities that want to apply under the program now, but the program's not built for that. It's just not, for example, we do, in the program now, we do lighting retrofits, comparable to the size of your community. Well, most of those communities are small. Madison, Wisconsin wants to be an international dark sky community. Like, how are we going to do that? So the new guidelines are going to allow us to bring Madison, Wisconsin in and have a program for developed communities that's comparable to their size and scale.
You might want to mention what will happen to current dark sky communities.
Current dark sky communities?
People here that are worried about that, I think.
What? Nothing. Nothing's gonna happen. You guys keep doing you.
Keep your title.
Keep.
I was seeing stress around the room.
Yes. Okay, let's address this. You guys keep doing what you're doing. I will say, in full disclosure, that there will be an annual fee that we did not have before. I can't help that. That is just part of our growth. I think most people understand this.
A fee for what?
A fee for the annual reporting, annual renewal. I don't know how that's going to roll out, and I don't know the full amount yet because, like I said, it hasn't really been approved, and it's kind of the part that I didn't want to talk about because I don't know a whole lot about it. Like we have still some work to do on this aspect of it, but
And rumor has
it.
that there will be, like you said up there could be waivers,
Mhm.
et cetera, based on the,
There's
the financial
Exactly.
state of the.
Exactly, and that would be the only change for the current international dark sky places or international dark sky community is not going to change in terms of its structure or anything like that. Question?
The annual fee is paid by who?
By the place.
So if they get to be a dark sky community now, they're gonna be hit with a bill annually? Because that's gonna turn a lot of them off.
There.
It's been discussed a lot, but if I could address that with the group and.
Can you use
that's
the
fine.
microphone, Cindy? I can't hear you.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Cindy.
Yeah, no, what we have been told, and there's been a lot of discussion of that with people who are in a number of the chapters around the country. We've talked about, ways that, like she said right up here, World Bank equity pricing. They can look at the community or the park or whatever and say, let's work with you on what it is. Can you help us with, can you pay, and I'll pull a price out of the hat, $100 a year because it cost us to review that application, that annual report. It may be more, but there will be waivers. There will be an easy way for people to have it waived if they cannot pay it.
Yeah.
So that has been something that has been a big part of the discussion on this.
So
Thank you.
can ask a little more about that. So a place like Enchanted Rock, compared to a place like Ulum in Utah, which charges $500 a night to go to their dark sky place, are you saying that you would modify for different places? And also, does Dark Sky Texas, is that where you start in order to become a dark sky place? Or do you start with Dark Sky International? How does that work?
We are paired together.
We are pals.
But who makes the criteria?
Dark Sky International sets the criteria. Dark Sky Texas provides help for people with this. The pricing is not something for you to get worried about at this point in time because that's still to be decided. But the program is costing Dark Sky International so much more money than we're getting in from the fees that are being taken in now. And we've got to look at that realistically.
Yeah.
Right. And
I can put a little context to that.
Yeah.
too.
Astrotourism is growing exponentially.
Right. People are
Places
getting-
like Ulum, so there's got to be a way to marry that cost into that industry.
Right, and there are most of our, say, like Enchanted Rock, they've got a Friends of Enchanted Rock that could probably help with $100 a year. Now, I'm not saying it's $100 a year, but it's being worked out to try to be reasonable.
And we'll have advance notice so that we can budget
There will
for
be
it.
advance notice.
There will be advance notice. So just a real quick yes, I'm looking at you like, Brad, are you going to step up here? Real quick though, I do want to make a point for the certified places. Existing is not going to be a full fee. There is going to be a blanket waiver. It's going to be a discount. What's the word I'm looking for? Discount for the people already existing. So we don't expect this to be a big, massive hit. The other thing that Cindy brought up, which I appreciate, is the program is growing very quickly. 270 plus places. I am the full-time program manager. I have 2 other staff members that I work with, and just reviewing the annual reports alone every year, 200 plus, is that in and of itself is a huge lift. And so as the organization, the program grows, we have more of a, so many people are excited about this. This is a good thing. This is just an unfortunate thing that has to happen. So
any entity that gets the designation.
it does. It does.
They get financial benefits from it.
Yeah. So
Yes.
it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to pass it over to the guy who knows about money.
I couldn't say it any better than what she said. However, you are speaking to the horse right now, because I'm the one that's in control of the treasurer of International DarkSky International, right? So I can promise you this topic that we were talking about right now, this fee structure with the DarkSky Places, comes up every single board meeting. Why? Because let's be honest, most of the money in the world is in the United States. We have more money than many other countries combined, and half of our board resides outside the United States. And I can tell you that the funding piece of it is a huge deal because of what somebody said it. If it's going to cost a bunch of money, people just won't do it. So we got to find a way to continue this ball rolling. But Amber couldn't have said it better.
Thank you.
It's not a one-time deal that lasts forever. We have to administer it from a staffing standpoint. It's Amber and 2 others. How are we paying for their salaries? It doesn't take a
Thank
business, a person. It doesn't take an expert in business to understand that we have to year on year bring in more money if that's her sole job. So we do not want this to become a situation where someone says, well, I can't afford it, so I'm not going to do it. But United States, come on, folks. I don't live in the hill country of Texas, but there is money in the hill country of Texas. Okay? There is not money in parts of Mexico. There is not money in Kenya. Does that put it in perspective? We are not trying to fund the entire organization off of the funds that are gathered for this program. But the fact is, we need to continue year on year to gather funds for the program, to administer the program, in order for us to have the program. Questions on that? Yes, sir.
Well, just to remember that there is a big bunch of places around the world that they are not certain, they are not sure about how long the pipeline takes. If the people in other countries have visibility about this process, I can tell you they will have more places to submit for approval.
Yeah.
So what I can tell you is, if you guys get support from the people who work in other countries, we can increase the workflow and
And that's the other part of it.
funding.
Yeah, that's the other part of it you just mentioned, is that there are, I mean, let's be honest, DarkSky International originated in Tucson and it's primarily been US based for a long time. We're working hard to get outside of the US boundaries. And so there are parts of the world that they're pulling their hair, I don't have any hair left, but they're pulling their hair out because they cannot get us to do things fast enough for them. And so it's another problem that Amber has, is how do we continue at 273, that's worldwide, that's really not a lot when you think of the entirety of the world. And so we really have to ramp it up. We have to get other countries involved that want to get involved, and understanding that that fee structure becomes even more problematic because in some of those parts of the world, there is no money. I mean, realistically, there's no money. So how are we going to do this and still support funding, paying Amber to do this every year?
Thank you. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Brad.